Welcome to the Non-Negotiable Living podcast, where we're building lives by design by creating non-negotiable habits around fitness, family, faith, and financial freedom.
Today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be less focused on fitness and goals specifically, and more of a generalized story about me and my past and the way that I live my life. And I'm hoping that this can inspire some other people to possibly change how they're living their life if it doesn't align with what they want. So I bought my first house when I was 23 years old. And the first thing I bought for my house was a sign to go above my front door. And it said, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I hope that I won't have a single bit of talent left and be able to say, I used everything you gave me." So obviously, everybody, I'm a believer. I'm very open about that. My foundation of my life is built on Christ, and I am raising my family in faith. I didn't fall into faith through church, though. I fell into faith through going to AA and CA meetings with my parents. So both of my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics. And I grew up in those rooms and surrounded by people who were struggling, who had hit rock bottom, who were trying to build a life back up that made them proud, that aligned with the person they wanted to be, and just trying to recreate themselves with a foundation of God. And I came to the realization at a young age that I didn't want to be like my parents. I didn't want to struggle with addiction. I didn't want to struggle with having to hit rock bottom. Those weren't things that I wanted. And my dad always tells me the story that at some point, I don't know if I was 10 or 11, my dad was sober, my mom was struggling at the time. And I told my dad, I don't want to be like you guys. You guys are crazy. And he told me, then don't. And at that point in my life, I took complete ownership of the fact that I had full control over where my life went, over what I was going to do, how I was going to live, how educated I was going to be, the amount of money I was going to make. I took ownership of the fact that no matter what happened in those years prior, no matter what kind of life I was born into, no matter what foundation or example was set for me, it was going to be my job to decide where I was going to go from there. And I loved that, because it meant that I was in control. And if anybody has ever grown up in an unstable household, with dysfunction, with alcoholism, with drug addiction, with instability, with fighting, with any of that, you know that there's a lot of feelings of lack of control. And the result of my upbringing brought me to a space where I needed control. And whatever I could control in my life, I was going to. And I'm a very type A personality. I am a control freak, almost to a fault. It's something I've had to work on for a long time. But I realize that it is a trauma response. It is my body and mind's way of saying that I'm safe if I'm in control. And if things go the way that I plan, if things go the way that I want, then things are safe and they're well and they're okay. Well, as we all know, life doesn't always work that way, unfortunately. But there is a lot that is in our control. Our actions, our behaviors, our decisions, our responses, the way that we speak, the choices that we make, that is in our control. And at a young age, I decided that I was going to do everything in my power to build the best life I possibly could have. So this comes back to the goal of using everything God has given me and in a positive way and to impact the lives of others. So I want to just bring this to everybody's attention that we have two options in life. We have the option to get to the end of our life having lived the life we were meant to, or live the life that we chose to. And those can be two very different outcomes. So I want you to envision this scenario. You get to the end of your life, and if you're a believer, which I hope you are, you walk up to the pearly gates, and God's waiting there. And he's got an easel, and he's got, a giant notebook with paper, and there's writing on it. And he flips the page over to a page, and it's got your name across the top. And it's got a long list of all these beautiful things. The family you built, the house you lived in, the jobs you had, the lives you impacted, the goals you accomplished, how proud of yourself you were, the, physical things you were able to achieve, the things that you did for others, and the businesses you built, and the places you visited. And you look at this and you say, oh, God, you got it wrong. That's not me. That's not my life. You must, have mixed me up with somebody else. And God looks at you and he says, this is the life you could have had. This is what you could have built. This is the life I had intended for you. This is what I equipped you to have been able to do. Think about that, guys. God has plans for us, and they're beautiful plans. He has a trajectory for our life and a place he wants us to go and people he wants us to impact and beautiful abundance that he wants to flow into us. I believe that. I believe that God wants great things for all of us, and he has an unlimited supply of goodness to pour into our lives if we show up and we do the work on our side. So you're looking at this list and you're looking at what could have been, what God planned for you, what he wanted for you, and what you chose not to show up and capitalize on. You didn't take the opportunities, you didn't show up and do the work, you didn't prioritize yourself, you didn't help others, you didn't lean into the education you could have had and the abundance you could have built, and your life became subpar. That's not God's fault. That's our fault. He has all of the resources for us. Whether we use them or not is our choice. And then there's the second scenario, where you get up to the pearly gates and he flips the page over and there's this long list of beautiful things, this incredible life, all of these accomplishments, the people you've impacted, the things you've done, and it's all typed up beautifully. And at the end, there's scribbles in handwriting. And you say, okay, God, I see this. This is my life. This is what I built. This is what I did. And God said, yes. And everything that's typed there was what I planned. It's what I had in mind. It's what I intended. And you showed up for it. But all of this stuff at the bottom that I had to handwrite, you shocked me with those ones. I didn't expect that. You went above and beyond. You did more with what you had. Guys, it can literally, I'm getting choked up, it could bring me to tears thinking about the goodness we could create in our life, the opportunities that we could take, the things we could do if we just show up and do the work. I want to tell you all at a high level that my life is blessed beyond reason. This is not the life I was born into. The life I have built, the person I've become, the things I have gotten to do, and the people I've gotten to help have been a blessing to me, but I've showed up and I've done the work. Now, everybody, I'm not special. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not richer than you. I'm not more important than you. I have no special skills. I have worked hard at what I do. I have capitalized on the opportunities that have been given to me, and I have busted my ass every day to build this life. But I'm not special, and I want you all to understand that if right now you're living a life that doesn't make you proud, that doesn't align with the life you know God had intended for you, if you're not being the parent you want to be, the wife you want to be, the person you want to be, if you're not taking advantage of opportunities, if you're blaming people for the things going on in your life, if you are not showing up and giving your all, you can change that. You can change it now. It's not too late. You have the opportunity to shift the narrative. At some point in our life, we have to make a choice to say, the life I was born into and the life I'm going to live are two different things. And those trajectories don't have to be the same. And the bucket that I was put in from day one is the bucket I'm going to pour out and refill the way that I want it to be filled. I'm going to give myself what nobody else gave me. Nobody gave me anything. Nobody handed this to me. Nobody said, okay, Ashley, you're not going to be an alcoholic. You're not going to be a drug addict. I did. I said that. I said, I'm not going to live like my parents. I'm not going to make those choices. I never had somebody say, here you go, Ashley. Here's, the grades so you can get through school. I showed up and I did the work, and I went on and I got a degree in psychology, a degree in business, and a master's degree, and I studied abroad a few times, and nobody gave that to me. I showed up and I did the work. My parents didn't have money. They didn't pay for me to go to college. I worked for it. And people look at my life. I love to travel. It's my passion. I can do anything for work if I get to travel. And people say such judgmental things like, oh, it must be nice to travel. It is very nice, but it's my priority. I don't drink. I don't go out to eat often. I don't spend unreasonable money on clothes and handbags. I don't get my nails done. I don't do my hair. I don't do any of that. I choose what is important to me, and you can too. The life that I've built, I worked hard for. I got into careers that were lucrative. I realized that those careers didn't serve me. I started my own business. To anybody out there who's an entrepreneur, we all know it's going to be hard. Nobody tells us how hard it's going to be. Being an entrepreneur and running a business and having employees is so difficult. It's a huge burden to carry. It's a lot of weight. There's people relying on me to make my business work, and it's more than just me. And that's a big, scary thing, but I've worked for it and I believe in it. And what I do every day matters, and I get to impact lives. And I believe when we align our purpose with God's glory and helping his children and helping people grow, abundance flows into us because of the work we are doing. I hope that you guys are living a life you're proud of. And if you're not, I hope you have the courage to stop and say, I'm going to change the narrative. Today, everything changes. You have a choice. We have an opportunity. It's not too late. Anybody who thinks that they've messed up the opportunities and the plans that God had for you, I hate to break it to you, but you're not that powerful. You can't screw up his perfect plans. You might show up to them late. You might not get there when he intended, but you can still get there and you can still make it work. You can shift the narrative. You can change your life. You can become the person you're capable of. And I know you guys are all capable of it. Sometimes you just need somebody else to remind you and tell you, I'll believe in you until you believe in you. And the second you can start shifting your mindset to growth and prosperity and abundance and God's will, your life is going to change. You're going to see the positive outcomes of what you do, the choices you make, the people you surround yourself with, the way that you show up, and the things that flow into your life. We only get one go at this thing, and it's our job to make it as good as possible. It's our job to show up and affect the most lives in a positive way that we can. It's our job to be the best parents we can. It's our job to be the best wives and children and friends that we are capable of. But more than anything, you deserve to feel proud of this life you're building. And if you don't, change it. Only you have that power. Only you have the power to show up and say, I want different, I want better, I want more, and I'm going to put in the work to get it. And it is work. So don't be fooled. God wants to bless you, and he wants to give you this life, and he wants to give you all of these things and this prosperity and this abundance. But you have to show up. We have to show up every day like the miracle depends on us, knowing that the miracle depends on him. And as soon as we can align our actions and our thoughts and our mindsets and our decisions with that future and that trajectory that we're after, you will be successful. Don't sell yourself short. You can do this. You are capable of this. It can be a beautiful life if you let it be. Life is good despite ourselves. Show up for this. Give it your all. Put every ounce of effort and time and energy into the life you want to build. If you have a dream, go create it. You are capable of it. And I know that because the life that I was given and the life that I've built, they're not on the same wavelength. They're not down the same road. I literally took turn after turn after turn to get to this space. And the life that I want to build sometimes feels so big and out of reach. But I know if I keep showing up and doing the work and praying about it and aligning my choices and my decisions and my abilities with God and the abundance I know he wants to flow into my life, I will get there. And I know that you can too. So I hope that this helps you. I hope that this shakes some people out of their funk. I hope that it wakes some people up to the fact that they may be the cause of the things that are holding them back. And we have the ability to show up and change the narrative. And I hope that you do that today. And if you are living a life in alignment with God and your potential, and you're proud of that, then that's a beautiful thing. And you should be proud of that. And when you get to the end of your life, I hope that you have not a single bit of talent left and can tell God, I used everything you gave me.